Bam. Let's see if we can get this cracking tonight. And let me see if I can stay on track with this. Welcome back to Prison Yard TV, first of all. I'm going to let some viewers come in before I start this story. This story right here kind of like woke me up. It woke me up to all the stuff I've been hearing about prison from when I was in CYA. But I'm going to wait for a few more viewers to come in before I start my story. So bear with me while we wait for some more viewers to come in. But in the meantime, I want to thank you guys. Thank all of my supporters for the growth of this channel. It's been growing consistently for the last 2 months, and I appreciate all the support I've been getting from all my viewers. But as you guys can see what the thumbnail says, this opened my eyes to what I've been seeing and hearing from the California Youth Authority. And as you guys know from my previous videos, I went to the California Youth Authority in 1988, the end of 88, and I went as an M number. And what that means is I was sentenced as an adult. Let me see, 1988, 69, 79, 89. I was 19 years old when I went to California Youth Authority. So my first sentence was 2 years. I got 2 years state prison, but they housed me in California Youth Authority. And how they do that is when you're young, they you're over 18. So what the judge does is he sends you to a 90-day op. And what that 90-day op is he sends you to prison and they observe you for 90 days. And that's what he did. He sent me to Vacaville, Greenside in 1988 to be observed. And then, of course, they watch you, see how you program with people, and then they send you back to court. And the judge determines if you're going to go do your time in California Youth Authority as an adult or to prison. And once I went to prison for my 90-day op, I didn't want to go to California Youth Authority. I wanted to stay in prison. However, because it's my first time, Snoopy Mac, what's happening? Bang that like button, hit that like button, man. Y'all gotta hit that like button, man. It helps the algorithm a lot. I just found that out. I didn't know that before, but that like button, when you hit that like button, it really hits it makes the algorithm take off. I just found that out by a couple more YouTubers. But let me tap in on a couple things before I start the story. March 2nd is locked in for our podcast. Our new podcast will be starting March 2nd in Colorado Springs, and it'll be live on the radio. Family Flavors, The Slide, WBN. That's what radio station we'll be on. And of course, I'll be live on my YouTube channel as we do the podcast. And it will consist every Thursday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Thursday, starting March 2nd. And it'll be me, Big Cisco, Big Smurf Nacho, and the production team will consist of Phoenix from the radio station. Me and him are producing it. So you guys might want to mark that on your calendars, March 2nd in Colorado Springs. But of course, I'll be in California. They'll be in Colorado Springs. We'll be streaming it live on the air on my YouTube channel and live on the radio, WBM The Slide. Family Flavors The Slide, WBN, starting March 2nd. Okay, so if you ain't subscribed to my channel, man, hit that subscription button. I do have 6 or 7 Prison Yard TV t-shirts left. I know I got them all boxed up. I sent 4 out that people ordered, and the person I gave them to had all the addresses mixed up. They went all to all the wrong places. So I got them all back except one. I don't know where that one is, and I'm resending them out this week. I don't know what day this week. I've been very busy, but you guys will get your shirts Monday, for sure, by Monday. Man, I haven't tapped into you, bro, but your shirt will get there before Monday because yours is being sent out tomorrow. It's already in the trunk of my car with the new address and the new box and everything. Okay, now, like I was saying, those of you that are watching my YouTube channel that aren't subscribed, because I only have 35% of my viewers are subscribed to my channel. That's not a good percentage. I need 50 to 80% of my viewers to subscribe to my channel, man. Like, share, and subscribe. For sure. Like, share, and subscribe. Okay, check this out. Let me get to this story, man. 1988, I was out on 2 GTA cases. That's stealing cars. I was stealing cars. I was out on bail, and I got caught with 9 ounces of soft up under my seat. Not up under my seat, up under the seat of the car that I was in, and I ended up getting booked on it. I ended up going to the county jail. They wouldn't let me bail out because I was out on bail twice already for GTA. So the guy that was driving the car, whose work it was, he was just 17 years old, and you know, so they didn't think it was his, so automatically they thought it was mine. They dismissed the grand theft auto cases, gave me the dope case, and I stayed in the county jail, I think, for a long. So I was at the old county jail when they opened up the new county jail, so I was there quite a long time. And because it was my first case, the judge told me that he was going to send me to a 90-day op at Vacaville. I was 19 years old, so that's what he did. He sent me to Vacaville, 90-day op. So I go to Vacaville, do my 90-day op. Then they send me back to court, and the judge tells me I'm sentencing you to, I believe it was 2 years, maybe 3 years. Either 2 or 3 years, but he was going to house me in CYA as an M number. I didn't want to go to CYA. I already went to the pen for my 90-day op. I wanted to stay in the pen. He said negative. He sent me to CYA. From CYA, they sent me to NRCC in Sacramento. From there, they sent me to DeWitt Nelson. I get to DeWitt Nelson, and I told you guys before, my families are Northerners. I had a cousin there that was a Northerner. I got in trouble behind him, ended up catching a stabbing on a Southsider. No disrespect to the Southsiders, the Norteños, any segments in prison. I was a kid back then, but I ended up stabbing a Southsider in Tahoe dorm, and I got sent from there to DVI. Okay, so this is where the story begins. I get to DVI. I'm in DVI for maybe 2 weeks. My cellie is from Grape Street, Watts. Yeah, he was from Grape Street, or PJ Watts. No, he was from Grape Street. He was from Grape Street, Watts. And if you guys know about DVI, all the windows in the cells, I'm on the reception center side, the orange side. All the windows in the cells are broken out. So people talk through the windows all night. At about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, they shut down program, and it should be quiet. After 2 weeks, I learned the program. You know, you're supposed to whisper to your cellie. And if you're talking to a neighbor through the window, you're supposed to whisper. However, I had some dudes next door to me that were loud. They was young like me, both of them, and they was loud as hell. They was yelling out the windows to their homies down and they did this consistently for 2 or 3 days straight. Me coming from YA, I was a hothead. Still haven't made a name for myself in prison. So that's what I was out to do. Um, Me and my next door neighbor had verbal, we got into it through the window verbally. And I ultimately told him let the door be the bell. Now, what that means in prison is when the door cracks, we're going to get cracking. So I called him out for a fade. We had words, and he ain't going nowhere, and I ain't going nowhere. So when the door opens, once you say that, it's on and cracking. My cellie from Grape Street Watts, he was down. He was a lot older than me. He was in his 30s then, and he had told me I didn't know these cats from a can of paint next door to me. I just heard them talking, and I knew that they was Damus. I believe now, or after the fight, I believe one was from uh, not Bounty Englewood family, and the other one was from I want to say Stockton, Ludus Park, or something like that in Stockton. However, they was youngsters like me, and when I told them let the door be the bell, you know, and why when you call someone out, it's an automatic fade. So soon as in Tracy at breakfast time, they ring a bell, and when they ring the bell, you got like 5 minutes until the doors open up with air pressure, and they control it in a control booth. So when they ring that bell, you got probably 4 or 5 minutes before the door opens. So I was suited and booted. Me and my celly was ready to go, and we was gonna take off on the next door neighbor. And he knew which one was talking. He was a fat cat. He was pretty chubby. Anyways, when the door opens up, my celly comes out, goes out on the tier first. I go out on the tier, and one of the cats next door was standing in front of his door, and then the door shuts. And my celly asked him, "Where's your celly at?" He's like, "He's in the bed. He don't go to breakfast on this day, whatever they was having." So, of course, to me, he knew that we were supposed to have a fade in the morning time. He didn't come out. So now I'm I'm kind of juiced about, like, I made this cat bow down. He didn't come out. So we went ahead and went to chow. Me and my celly went to chow. We go to chow on our way back. We go up to the cell. I walk up to dude's door, and he's at his sink brushing his teeth. And he's woofing through the door. I'm woofing through the door. His celly ain't came back yet. So I know that his celly has to come back and this door has to open. So I'm trying to stay on the tier until his celly comes back, so we could get that fade. Well, his celly, I guess, went to medical and got his pills. He went somewhere where he didn't come back, and now they're ringing the bell for everyone to lock up. So I'm at this dude's door, and this is a no-no in prison. For anyone that this hasn't been to prison, um, like I said, I was new, and what I did next is a straight no-no. You don't supposed to do this. I start woofing at him through the door. He starts woofing at me through the door, and we're saying to each other what we're gonna do to each other. And he was a short, fat dude, right? And I was very confident that he couldn't whip me. After I seen him, I was way more confident, and I wasn't gonna let this short, fat dude beat me up, right? So we was woofing at each other through the door. Well, everyone is going in their cells, locking up, and I'm steady at this dude's door talking. What I didn't see, we was on the third tier, by the way. We was in East Hall, the one all the way, the very first building. We was in East Hall on the third tier. And what I didn't see was a CO standing behind me on the staircase. And he's yelling at me to lock it up. I'm yelling at this dude through the door, not paying attention to who's behind me or what they're hearing. And this CO's name was CO Austin. Anybody that been to DVI knows who this CO is. He's a short black dude. He got fired anyway. Years later, he got fired from there. And I'll tell you guys about that, why he got fired, on a whole nother segment. It had to do with someone that I know. And it had to do with phones and tobacco. but he did get fired with someone from Sacramento. He was dealing with someone from Sacramento. He got fired. But during this time, he was working there. In 1990, he was working there. So he heard me telling this dude that what I was going to do to him, right? Well, CO's jobs are to know who's in their building. So this CO actually knew who I was, and I was only there 2 weeks, and he knew I was a YA reject. See, when you go to prison from CYA and you're a YA reject, the cops, they think you're a fuck up. You're automatically labeled a hard hit and a fuck up when you're a YA reject. So they got a list, and they got a list of YA rejects. So, and I was on that list, and I didn't know none of this at the time, right? I found out years later when I started doing a lot of time. So CO Austin, what he did was he heard me talking shit through the door to this dude, and CO Austin was, you know, he'd been around, he'd been a correction officer for a while, man. After this incident, let me tell you this story, and I'll tell you what happened with me and this cat on the street. I seen him on the street, but in 1990, I was in East Hall with him, right? When this dude heard me talking shit through the door to this cat, he told me to cuff up. He told me to walk down the stairs and cuff up at the bottom of the stairs. So, you know, that's what I did. I walked down to the bottom of the stairs. He cuffed me up. When he cuffed me up in the back, and he told me to walk to the officer station. DVI has a dorm at East Hall. It was probably a 20 or 30 man dorm, and they have a kitchen. Well, this dorm wasn't being utilized. It had a bunch of empty beds in it, and it was dark inside of there because no one lived in there, right? He went, he set me down by the shower, and he went and talked to this white officer. The white officer's name was Lowry. And how I know these officers' names still to this day is because I did a lot of time after this first term. I did a lot of time on this main line after this incident, and I got to know these two officers very well over my career in prison. So while I'm sitting down on my ass, handcuffed, Austin goes and talks to CO Lowry. Lowry is a hick. And when I say a hick, he's like a country dude. He's a tall, skinny white boy, and he wore cowboy boots. And you could just tell he was a hick. He went and whispered to him. They come over there. They tell me to stand up, and they take my handcuffs off me. They take my handcuffs off me in the back, and they told me to go in this damn dorm that was dark. And they told me to go in this dorm, and they told me to get up against the wall and stand there until they come back. So I go in this dorm, and when you walk in this dorm, all these beds are pushed to the back of this dorm, and there's a wall to the left, and there's a wall to the right. Well, the wall to the left has a bathroom door to it. And then it has shower stalls right there. I think 3 or 4 showers right there. Well, he tells me to stand to the right and put my nose on the wall. Now it's dark in there, but he leaves the dorm door open, and there's light shining through there so you can see a little bit. So I'm standing there for like 5 minutes up against this wall, and I'm not going to lie to you. I was spooked. I didn't know what they was going to do. I didn't know what I had coming. I didn't know if they was going to take me to the hole, I didn't know what they was going to do. It was my first time ever having a confrontation with the California prison guard. So I was kind of, shooken up about it. But I was more shooken up about the cat that didn't come out that I was woofing on through the door. So as I'm standing up against this wall, they creep in on me. Lowry and Austin creep in on me. And Lowry gets right behind me, and his head is right in my back, and he's talking hella shit. He like, oh, you think you're bad? You talking about throwing one of my officers over the tier and woo. So when I turned around, he fired on me. And when he fired, I was like this. He fired on me from behind. When I turned around to come off the wall, I swung around with this elbow and caught Lowry in the nose. What do you guys think happened after that? Yeah, they commenced to whipping my ass is what happened. That's the only punch I got in. They scraped me. I had a guy hit my eye by something. I was so dazed. They hit me in the eye. I was bleeding out the eye. And all I remember is being lifted up off the ground, handcuffed by 3 officers, and them walking me fast with my arms bending all the way up to the sergeant's office. And that's the gist of what I remember, right? So when I get to the sergeant's office, it was a big old fat Mexican sergeant, and I want to say his name was Vasquez, but I'm not positive about that. But he was a fat Mexican, and I remember he had a big ass thick mustache. And when I walked in the office, okay, first of all, I got 3 officers escorting me, and they're talking shit to me the whole way there. One of my shoes fell off. They give you Chinese karate shoes at DVI back then on the reception center side. They give you them flat bottom Chinese karate shoes. So as they're walking me to the sergeant's office, I only have one shoe on, one shoe off, and I'm leaking out my eye. So they walk me in there, and when the sergeant sees me, as soon as he sees me, he tells them to take me to medical. So they rush me out of the sergeant's office, take me to medical, and they put 2 butterfly stitches on my eye. They take me back in the sergeant's office, and he's just on one. He's yelling at me, "Oh, you think you're a badass? You're a YA reject. You ain't coming to my prison, taking off on my officers." And so basically, they told him that I took off on them. So now I'm going to the hole. I'm going to the hole for assault on a CO. I got my ass whooped. And when they take me to the hole, this is what. So I already got my ass whipped, right? I'm bleeding out my eye. They got butterfly stitches on me. They take me to the hole, and they take me to K-Wing. K-Wing has 3 tiers. Never been to K-Wing before this time. This is 1990. And they're walking me on the first tier in K-Wing, and I believe there's 2 or 3 sections to the bottom tier where they got bars. Like it's a long tier, but there's bars halfway down K-Wing where they could shut it off, and it'll be 2 tiers. So they ran my shoulder into these bars walking to the cell. So they take me all the way down to the very end cell, and it's wide open. And when they get me to the cell, they push me in there, and there's the biggest black CO that I've ever seen in the cell, and his name was Casey. People that have been to DVI know who Casey is. Casey hated Crips. And the reason why he hated Crips is because his fiance got caught screwing around with the inmate that was a Crip from Harlem, and he just hated Crips. She got walked off. This is later on though, but when I got there, Casey was in the cell, and when they threw me in the cell, I'm handcuffed. Casey just gave me one with his knee, bam, in my midsection. I just doubled over, and they started whipping my ass again in the cell. Now I'm in DVI, first time in prison, got my ass whipped twice by these cops, right? I'm on the ground. They shut the door and they leave the handcuffs on me. So I'm down there they knock the wind out of me. I'm down on the ground trying to catch my breath. And when they walk away, my next door neighbor, you guys know who Felix Mitchell is from Oakland? So my next door neighbor happened to be his son, Felix Mitchell Jr. And I didn't know it at the time. He was like, "Hey, homie." He kept saying, "Hey, homie, I'm trying to catch my breath." This dude, they whipped my ass in there, and I'm still handcuffed, and these cuffs are on hella tight. I can't feel my wrists. I mean, my hands, they're numb. He's like, "Hey, homie." So I'm trying to catch my breath. I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "Hey, man, get up off the ground, man." He said they're gone. Well, he had a mirror. This is the first time I ever seen this shit. He had a mirror coming out of his tray slot, and he's looking in my cell, and I look up and I see this mirror. I'm like, "Oh shit." So he's like, "Hey, homie, get up off the ground." I'm like, "I'm cuffed." So he's like, "Well, get up off the ground. They'll be back in a little while to take the cuffs off you." He said, "What'd you do?" And I try to run him down the story as best I can, but I'm shaking and I'm jacked up. I mean, I'm beat up. My eyes bleeding again because the stitches came off when it was three of them in there. It was Casey and another Mexican cop and another black cop. They worked me over, but the only names I know was Lowry, Austin, and Casey. I forgot the other two cops' name. So they worked me over in there, right? Now I have an assault on two COs. I'm a WIC, a CY reject, and I'm in the hole for assault. I don't know how long I was in the hole exactly. I went to committee, I think 2 times. They let me out the hole. Now, I told you guys that I was on the reception center side when this happened, right? In East Hall. When they let me out the hole, they sent me back to the reception center side in West Hall. When I get to West Hall, I still got to go and see my counselor and the whole shit to get classified to go to another prison to go to a main line, right? I still got time to do. I still had over a year to do in prison. I think I was in YA maybe almost a year, but I caught a lot of level B write-ups plus a stabbing. So I caught time in there and I was ending up doing my whole sentence, right? So what happened was when I finally got classified, these people sent me to the main line in DVI. I got into it with these cops on the reception center side, and they want to send me to the main line where I'm going to be around these cops that just beat me up. So, of course, I thought they was going to kill me. I thought it was a setup. I'm writing home. I'm calling my mom. I'm telling my girlfriend, these people are going to kill me. Call up here. You know, they're going to kill me. That's why they got me on this main line. At the time in 1990, 89 and 90, DVI was a real gladiator school. And when I say that, it was like, it was on and cracking with inmates there and inmates against COs. There was a lot of assault on staffs there back in 89 and 90. And I happen to just be in the mix on this because now I'm labeled as being an assaultive convict on a staff member, and they got me labeled as that, and that carried over to all my prison sentences. Every time I've been to prison, that comes up in the committee that I assaulted these staff members. I go to the main line, and you know, I'm real fearful for my life. I ended up doing my time there, getting out. I might have stayed home 8 months. And when they send me, I get another case. I caught another case 3 years, 4 months. When I caught another case, they sent me back to DVI. At that time, I believe it was 93. At that time, DVI was really cracking. And you got to picture something. You walk onto a prison yard and you see nothing but red and blue rags. They used to sell red and blue rags at DVI, and you could get them in your packages. You could wear red tank tops, blue tank tops, red shirts, blue shirts. So the whole yard is gangbang central, and they sent all the young gangbangers to DVI Tracy back in the 80s and in the 90s. And so the second time I went there, they put me on a crew. It's called Crew 7. And what you did was you went in between buildings and picked up paper. And guess who my boss happened to be? You guessed it. CO Austin. He was my boss. And, you know, after 2 or 3 times going to Tracy, me and Austin started talking. I seen Lowry. He started talking. I started talking to him. But CO Casey, my first wife, she used to come see me every weekend. And CO Casey was on my wife. He was in love with my first wife, Angela. He didn't even work in the visiting room, but when he used to come to work and see us out on the patio visiting, he would come back in the visiting room and try to talk to me and shit. And I told this the cat that elbow, you know, need me at the first time I was here. But that was my first time getting physically assaulted with COs. And it wasn't my last time. But that was my first time, and I'm gonna tell you, I was spooked. I really thought these cats were gonna kill me. And then after hearing all the stories of them shooting people, of them suffocating people, beating them down, I really thought I was gonna get killed in prison. My first time when I was in prison. Um, I'm gonna give you guys another story about Casey and Austin because both of them cats. I don't know where CO Casey is right now, and he was a linebacker for the Oakland Raiders back in the day. And I don't know if he got hurt or what, but it became a correction officer. Everyone in the prison system knew that he used to play for the Raiders. He was a big ass, light skinned cat. He looked like Suge Knight with a beard and bald head, but he was humongous. But yeah, I ended up getting to know these cats over the years, and my play brother and Austin has some stuff going on in there, and Austin got fired behind what he was doing in there, man. But I'm gonna give you guys a story about another story about Casey and another story about Austin, because Casey's story is wild. Um, like I told you, his fiance got caught in mid act with the inmate in the kitchen area. And I'm going to give you a story. I think I talked about it on one of my other videos, but I'm going to give you that story. Probably my next video, I'll talk about Casey and how he beat the shit out of someone in the hole again for getting caught digging his wife out, man. But I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Corey, what's happening? Let me talk to you guys and answer some of these comments, man. What's cracking? Denver, Colorado, checking in. What's up, next level? Good looking Corey Ferguson. What's happening, homie? Man, CO got it in for you. They did have it in for me back then, bro. That bad there during that time. Yeah. So DVI at that time, bro. Yeah, I did. I think I did 11 years altogether on that main line in Tracy. Altogether, I think I added it up. You know what? A few months back, I sat here and I wrote down all the time and what prisons I've been to in my 28-year career. And I've been to a lot of prisons. I think it was 18 prisons altogether I've been to. I think the only ones I didn't really go to was Tehachapi, Centinela. What's that other one that starts with the C? Centinela, Tehachapi. There's another one that starts with the C. Not Chowchilla, that's for broads. It was two prisons way down south. One was by Arizona that I didn't. But I've been to a lot of different prisons, man. And I think I talked about this before. I've been to three level 4, 180 yards, and one level 4 or two level 4, 270 yards. But I think the most violent and dangerous prison I've ever been to wasn't even a level 4 yard. Well, you know what? It's a toss up. It's between New Folsom and Pleasant Valley State Prison level 3 yard. That was the most violent yard I ever really been to, is Pleasant Valley level 3 yard. And that yard was crazy as hell, homie. They didn't run the fights and riots and stabbings. They walked. And when they got there, they surrounded you and let you finish. I don't care if it was a 3-on-1, 4-on-1. They surrounded you and they let you finish doing what you was doing until you tired out. And then they cuffed you up. They didn't run to nothing. And it was 90% Mexican cops there. And they was mostly from Fresno and around that area. They was bulldogs. And that was the most dangerous prison I've ever been to, man. That's where X-Rated got stabbed up at and sliced up at when he was at Pleasant Valley on a whole nother yard. But yeah, that yard right there was dangerous as hell. That and New Folsom, I think, is the two most dangerous yards I've been to. New Folsom was very dangerous also. Old Folsom, I only been to Old Folsom once, and the time I was there on a 12-month violation, and it kicked off there, but it wasn't like New Folsom. New Folsom was very, very dangerous. But I think Pleasant Valley takes the cake just because how the COs didn't come to rescue nobody. Heard California prisons were dangerous. Yeah, Corey, they're very dangerous. And even level, I was in Washington State on their maximum security prison, and their maximum security prison wasn't I think our level 2 and level 3 prisons are harder than their maximum security prisons up in the state of Washington, man. And that tells a lot about California prison system. You know what I mean? And you have to, when you're in California prison system, you have to oblige by the unwritten rules and the politics that everybody has in there. And you don't have a choice. You're in there, and it don't matter if you've been there for years or you're a newcomer. You have to oblige by the politics that goes on in California prison, man. And you know, when I look back, it's like, damn, you got to know how to really think to get through California prison system without being killed up in there, man. Really, because there are people dying there every day. Every day, someone's dying in California prison system. Believe that, and it's at the hands of other inmates or the staff, or they're killing themselves. There's a lot of suicides in California State Prison, a lot. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story. I still got some shirts available. I'm raffling. I saved 5 that I'm raffling off. You guys want to buy a raffle ticket? It's Cash App only, $10 a raffle ticket. Tap in. Let me know your address. If you do win, I'm raffling them off in March. 5 of them, first, second, and third place. So $10 a raffle ticket. Cash App only. Tap in. I'll show you guys how to Cash App me the $10. I'll put you in a raffle. I'll give you guys your number. I'll be raffling them live. I'll be picking 3 numbers, first, second, and third place. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, man. I appreciate all the support I've been getting. My channel been growing slowly but surely. I've got a lot of input on my last video. And like I said, look for March 2nd, our new podcast. March 2nd, man, 4 to 6 p.m. Love y'all. Stay blessed. Tell the people you love them. And I'll check y'all out tomorrow. I'm going to do a video a day now. I'm going to be consistent, a video a day. So check me out tomorrow in the evening time. I don't know what time yet. Stay blessed, y'all.